So I'm often asked why we chose 1,000 Acres to be the source material for the commission of our new opera here at Des Moines Metro Opera. And I will confess that I was one of the first people to suggest the book to Michael Eagle. I first read the book in 1994, soon after it was published, and it made a huge impression on me. It is an iconic American story, I think. It is a great American tragedy, and of course it's set here in Iowa. And so it seemed like a bit of a no-brainer that we might turn material like that into an opera.
So yeah, I read the novel, and I kind of went, wow, this is not going to be easy. It's a very sprawling novel. There are many locations. And so one of my first decisions was, how can I just bring this down to the farm, to this one location in Iowa? And then the other big challenge is that it's told from the first person, and I wanted to preserve that.
In thinking about the writing for each of these characters, it's a family. So I haven't written specific themes for each character. They all sort of have the same pitch language, coexisting though within different psyches for each of them. As we get into Act 2, things start to unravel and their own individual sounds and sonic worlds start to come into play, and more in conflict. What I think this story gains by being an opera, after of course it was a novel and then it was adapted into a film, is that we really get to unleash the physicality of the emotions of these characters.
What a groundbreaking work of music this is. I mean, this is a very important opera, I think, for the future. And Kristin, this is her first large-scale opera, and she's written something. It's a new voice. It's her own voice, and I'm really excited to just be part of it and present it.
So 1,000 Acres is a story about memory, and it's about fractured memories. The main character, Ginny, is telling the story in her own voice, and she is working to remember things that happened in her childhood and make sense of them. And of course, the impact of those things then changes how she views all of the members of her family and views her own life. It is a story of recovery and rewriting her self-narrative.
Ginny is an exceptionally accommodating, kind, loving force of a lady who I don't think she consciously realizes she's just surviving every day. She is a person who is coping with her trauma by taking care of everybody around her. She is the function and organization of the farm. And until she starts to have these little doors and windows opened, that generates curiosity and interest into what this trauma that she experiences, she is full just functioning and happy and accommodating and will do anything for anyone until she's realized that she's had enough of doing all of that.
Rose's relationship with Ginny is, I really feel in this story, the love story that is in the book and in the opera. I mean, they're so close, and they have experienced very similar traumas and events in their lives, although they don't talk about it with each other, and we find that out later in the opera. They have this bond and this commonality only between the two of them.
So to create the visual world of 1,000 Acres, I really wanted to assemble a great creative team. It's always hard to do things that are based on landscape or the natural world and bring that into the theater. It's one of our great challenges in the theater. We're really good at interiors, sometimes we're less good at exteriors. And especially since the space here at DMMO is very unique, it felt like we needed a unique approach, something we hadn't yet done at DMMO. And projections, and specifically projecting all over the floor, seemed to be a really natural fit with that.
There's a silent character in this opera, and it is Iowa. It is the farm fields of Iowa. The expanse, the potential, all of those things are there, inherent in this storytelling. I think the message of this piece is that one can triumph over incredibly adverse situations. And this is what I think is at the root of this storytelling, is that Ginny, who is our narrator, our storyteller, is able to is able to get past her past.
I think that this is where opera is headed, where we can express this art form in a different way. But I think that there is room for this in our operatic canon, and it's good for audiences to see it and say, I was deeply moved by that, and I want to see more of that.